Okay. It looks like we've got some people here, so why don't we get started? Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our final. I've been saying every week, like, come back every Wednesday. This is the last Wednesday of the summer. I can't believe it. To welcome back to our final Wednesday webinar at Wharton. I am Miss Timmy. I'm the director of the Musical Theater, Drama, and Dance Department at Wharton. And today we have a very special guest. Mr. Christian Rosky, who is one of our very own teachers at Wharton. I'm going to pin your video so everyone can see you and not me. Welcome, Chris. We're so happy to have you with us. You have been at Wharton in one capacity or another for longer than I have. When was the first year you started working at Wharton?
Uh, the first year I started was the summer of 2014. I think I worked.
That
I
was
think
the
one.
year before I got there. So you started as a counselor, right? And have been a summer camp counselor for many, many years. And last year, you started teaching some of our in academic year classes. And you've been a really big part of that and will continue to be, I hope. We're super happy to have you. You're one of our most popular teachers. And in addition to doing dance, and you're great with acting, and you do script writing and all that stuff, you also have this amazing background training in, you'll have to say if I'm saying it wrong, so stage makeup and like special effects makeup, right?
Yeah, TV, film, special effects, the whole thing.
So could you, I know you have a lot of like hands-on tutorial stuff to do today, which is super exciting. I'm so glad that, it's been great doing a lot of Q&As with people, but it's super exciting to see something different today also. So I definitely want to give you time to get to that. But if you would, can we talk a few minutes about kind of your background? Like, tell me about, how you first started in the arts and what your experiences are and kind of what led you to Wharton into teaching.
So I have been doing some form of musical theater arts since I was like 7, 8 years old. I danced for a long time. I actually danced competitively as well on the competition team for 7 years. I went to the Union County Academy for Performing Arts High School, where I had every day we had classes in theater or dance. And while I was there, I really loved, I mean, I've always loved theater and dance and singing, but I realized I didn't really like to perform that much. I didn't really like to be on stage, but I loved the whole, like being a part of the show and being in the environment and learning. So my senior year of high school, I actually um, did choreographed our fall show, and I absolutely loved doing that. I got to be involved in the show, but like more in the back, and then like watch the show at the end, which was really fun. And then we won. Montclair University does like a theater night award, so we won actually for student choreography for that show, which was really exciting. That year, I also did an internship at Wharton during the year, so I choreographed some of the younger kids like the shows during the year, and I helped out with a lot of the shows like happening, and kind of got to test the waters doing that. And I just realized I've always really have loved working with kids and getting to do theater and teaching. I find that I'm always teaching something. I mean, I've been watching my cousins this summer, younger cousins, kids, and I taught them how to swim. I just feel like I love to teach. And I love getting to work at Wharton actually because we do offer classes as opposed to just shows. So we actually get to like know the kids and the families and get to really work and teach them as opposed to just like learning lines and putting on a show. So that's kind of my background with that stuff.
That's great. And you went to the Performing Arts High School in Scotch Plains, is that right?
Yeah.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
then I also studied theater at Kane University.
Right. Right. Great. And you also, apart from all that, which is amazing, you also know a lot about makeup and stage makeup, and you did a course, right, in Manhattan. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So to start with makeup, I actually, at the summer camp I used to go to, Performing Arts Summer Camp, they had a guy that would come every now and then who did like basic stage and special effects makeup. And I loved it so much. I ended up, my birthday party one year, I think when I turned 9, my parents hired him to come, and I did like a special effects birthday party, and we did fake blood and scars and a crime scene. But I loved it, and I always loved like doing Halloween fun makeup. My sister always had really cool makeup for Halloween because I always did it. And then like Miss Timmy just said, I found this program in New York. It's Makeup Designery. They have one in New York and LA, and they're one of the top schools, and it's very different from a cosmetology program. I have some pictures to show, and I'm gonna share my screen really quickly to show some pictures of some makeup I did there. So basically, we got to learn like basic makeup, like if you were having someone prepare for, 101 kind of like, oh, if they were going to do a cat, if they were going to do a talk show or an interview or like on the news or maybe like a sitcom and it's a kid or something, just how to like kind of bring out the features. But we also did a lot of like, this was like more of a character thing. We learned how to like do some hair stuff. We got to do some official shoots with models that are working, and we got to learn a lot about like the business side of makeup, which is really useful because it's also transcended into other things, because I learned a lot about marketing and web designing and things like that. But my favorite has always been special effects. So this is kind of a special effects piece. It's inspired by a video game, Legend of Zelda. So I did like a nose and the ears there, and I made that crown. But yeah, we learned how to lay a fake beard on someone. That's a prosthesis, like a little silicone piece that I had to lay down in color for the skin. Same with that. We learned, so those are 3 separate pieces that I put together and painted so like anything from like making someone into a creature like that to like a wound. This is a fake tattoo. This is kind of gruesome. It's just it's all fake, not real at all. A wound, that's frostbite. I had some more, I guess I didn't. Oh, this is just a basic makeup. That's my mother. We had a day where we were supposed to bring in our parents. And then this is actually a class that I did. I don't have a good picture of this, but it's I made that prosthetic myself. So we got to actually make head molds of each other, and we got to work in a lab for our last class and learn how to sculpt and make our own prosthetics. So like this is actually that girl's face. And and I sculpted the piece. So that's like a bunny. I don't know if you could tell on the screen.
Yeah.
But that's the piece, and I filled that with silicone and drilled this together, and then you let it sit, and then once it's sat, you take it apart, and then you have that little piece, and that's the piece. And I laid it down on the skin and colored it. So
That's very cool. I was going to ask, so you just answered my question. Silicone, that's what they make. That's what you use to make them. That's very, very cool. I mean, and so obviously right now we're doing everything virtually, but these are some skills, maybe not the prosthetics. One day, hopefully, we can have that much of a budget to
that
do
was
that kind of
that was
stuff.
the hope originally. If we were in person, I was gonna bring in like crazy cool stuff, and we were gonna like make kind of like maybe make some fake blood and show you how to do that, and put some like cool prosthetic pieces on and show everyone how to do that. But this is gonna be still really fun.
It's going to be super fun. And these are like, especially, I like that you showed the pictures of just like basic makeup, even because those are things that to bring out the features that we talk about all the time, whether we're doing a virtual show or whether we're doing a show in person, right? Even if you're not doing something crazy like that, you still need to be able to do like basic things like that.
Oh yeah, that was like the first class we had. That was a required. You could have. I did the mastery makeup program, which was 812 clock hours, which was like 12-hour days in the city every day.
That's a lot.
But you could have stopped like after the basic makeup or after hair or whatever. I did the full thing, but you had to at least take the basic 101 because it's fundamental. And I'll explain a little bit of that while I do a tutorial, but it's fundamental to understanding any other kind of makeup.
Great. That's awesome. I mean, I'm sure I feel like you have a lot to show us, so we should probably just get into
Yeah.
it. People in the audience, if you have questions, which I'm sure you do, whether it's right now or as we go through, just pop them into the Q&A and I will find times to ask Mr. Chris, or if we have time at the end, we will do it. But yeah, so tell us what you're going to do.
Okay, so my first tutorial I'm going to do is kind of a basic stage makeup, directed more at kids' stage makeup. Come on, this is my sister, my younger sister, Ava. I'm going to be demonstrating kind of a basic stage makeup on her because I know that's probably where a lot of the audience
Yeah.
probably where the audience we have is coming from. You know, you're like, my kids do a lot of shows and I want to do their makeup. And this can also translate to on screen. So I'm going to do half the face um, to show you the difference. So first I want to just talk about the purpose of makeup. Generally, the purpose of makeup is really just to bring out the natural features of a person. It's not really to go crazy or like change the face. You know, you can do that stuff, absolutely. But especially the purpose for a performance is really, unless you're doing a character, which we will do later, is really just to like take your face and kind of push it forward a little bit or bring parts back if you want to. So I'm going to talk about that first. It's important to get a foundation. Now for on stage, we kind of have some bright lights here, and she actually looks way paler on screen than she does sitting here, and that is a natural cause and effect of the white lights. So I'm actually going to take a foundation that's a little bit too dark for her. You don't have to do that, but if you want to take a foundation that's a little bit dark, you can do that. I'm just going to start putting that on. If we weren't doing stage makeup, I would obviously want to match the foundation to her skin color. And a tip for doing that is not to match it to your actual face, but to match it to your neck or your forearm. That's a good place to foundation match because it's more of like your actual skin color, because our face and our outside of our arms and stuff, they can get a little tan or a little pale compared to the rest of our body. So
Yeah, we've all seen those people who have like the makeup that clearly doesn't match their neck skin.
Yeah, right, and that's another thing. So this is not going to match her neck skin because it's a little bit darker. So we're going to make sure that we blend that in. And when you are performing on stage, right now she has this cape on, so we're only going to do a little bit. Make sure we get the ears, and we're going to do a little bit down the neck. But if you're
the ears, I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah, and so if you ever turn, like, you know, and the ear's like white, and it's like, it's kind of
yeah.
And if you're wearing a shirt like that, like goes here or down to here, whatever, you want to make sure you blend the makeup out to wherever that ends. Do we have a question?
We do. Cecilia asks, what is the first performance that you were ever in or ever helped with?
Performance I was ever in, I guess technically a camp show that was like a kind of musical review was like that I ever was in. The first show I ever helped with at Wharton, I may have done, I feel like I did Sleeping Beauty at some point. Like I may have like helped backstage or done something with that. Or well, I guess for the summer camp, I did a Monsters Inc. week. That was technically the first show.
Mm-hmm.
The first big real show that I remember doing that was like more of a bigger show was I think Jungle Book. But yeah, so I have a it might not be of the actual official first one, but for some reason I always think of it as the first one. I have a special place in my heart for that one production of Jungle Book. So
that was the first production I ever saw at Wharton, actually.
That's so funny. So yeah.
Yeah.
And those kids are all older now, but you know, I still remember the show. So next I'm going to just want to make sure. Okay. I'm gonna just powder really quick. And this is just an important This is just an important step just to set the makeup. And we're gonna put powder on top to do a little bit of contouring. So we wanna make sure, I have a white powder and a darker powder. I'm gonna mix them together so that it's like kind of skin colory, or you don't wanna do too dark, but you don't wanna be, you know, white, especially because we just kind of made the face look a little bit darker. And that's
someone asks, have you ever worked on any, like through your training and stuff, did you work with any like TV shows or movies or anything like that?
I have not worked with TV shows and movies. To be honest, the main issue with that is that when I did work with on set when I was in school, it was a very, very, very stressful environment. And I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I like to make sure everything looks good. And it was very like, you have 10 minutes to do this, and you have to run in here and now. And the models were very tall, and I'm not a very tall person. So I was like trying to fix things, and they're like, look at that little spot, you missed it. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. And my teachers kept talking about how horrible it is to work on set and how like stressful it is and how you never get an adequate lighting and sometimes you're shoved into a little closet. And I was like, this sounds terrible, but I do really appreciate all the training. And I think that, and a lot of people that I did go to school with have been working on a lot of films and TV, not so much right now, but a lot of films and TV. It just wasn't for me, but I'm glad that I got the opportunity to do it and I get to use it in this way. I would definitely work for like a theater, but I think film and TV is just completely out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Really quick, I'm going to do some contouring. This is not necessary. I'm going to do it just to explain it a little bit, but especially for a kids theater thing, that this foundation base is perfectly acceptable. The main thing I want to talk about with contour and highlight is it's a really great way to manipulate the face. So basically it's shadows and highlights, and shadows bring things back and highlights bring things forward. So, you know, when I have the light on my face, whatever the light touches is a highlight, and whatever it kind of doesn't hit is a shadow. So right now we can see like, when you see people contour, they usually will contour here and maybe their nose and they'll highlight up here. That's just to bring this part forward and to bring this part back, which is the natural way of the face. And all shadow, that's really all contour and highlight is. It's just shadows and highlights and a way to kind of do an optical illusion. You can actually make things bigger or smaller by using that. So like the nose right here, we see this is the full highlight of the nose. But if I were to, and the shadow kind of starts back here, but if I were to take a shadow and do a line up here, and here, and bring the highlight here, it can actually make the nose look a little thinner because it tricks our eyes into thinking, oh, that's the front of the nose, and that's the back of the nose, even though that's not the case. And all you need for a contour is, and highlight is just eyeshadow, brown. You don't really need like an actual contour. You can get it, but you really don't need it. So I'm just going to take this. There's like a brown, like a lighter brown and a darker brown, and I'm going to mix that. This is a fan brush. This is really great for contouring and highlighting. I'm going to just tap that, and then I'm going to just very lightly, right under where the cheekbone is, just kind of apply it like that. Very softly, like you can barely see it, but it is there. And you can see that it does a little bit of its job. Bring it forward a little bit. And there it is. On your face. And then I'm going to do the same type. I'm only going to do the cheek just so it's like I'm going to take this lighter color right here. And I'm going to do the same thing at the top. And just very light highlight. As you can see, you can't actually really see it, but it is doing its job. As you can compare it to the other side of the face.
Totally. And that's kind of the point, right? Is that like you don't want it to be too much?
Right. You don't really, that's the point of, now this makeup is different for everyone. You can do something crazy and wild to let people know. But especially when we're talking about on stage and you're just being yourself or like a regular everyday character, you really don't want to go crazy. You just want to make it look like you barely have makeup on, even though you do. And now, do we have questions?
Yes. Madison says, what was your favorite show that you were in?
That I was ever in?
Yes.
Oh. Well, like I said, I didn't really like to perform very much. So I wasn't really like seeking out shows. And when I was, I always wanted to be like a background. But I think I really I did Anything Goes in my high school. And I was one of the principal dancers of it. Like sailor, you know, whatever. And I really loved doing that because I love to tap, and there's like never opportunities to tap anymore. So I got to do tap dancing, which is my favorite, and I really liked being in that show.
Cool. Tina says, which might be Victoria actually, says, what is your favorite style of makeup to do?
Special effects. I love to do special effects. I don't really get an opportunity, and it's really expensive. It's a really expensive hobby. All the materials you need are really expensive. But when I do get a chance to do it, and I hope that like, you know, we haven't had a lot of shows where we're doing like crazy characters like that, but one day maybe we'll get to do a show where Actually, we were going to do Little Shop this summer, which we did get to do, but virtual. But when we were planning to do it in person, I was actually going to, instead of having a puppet for Audrey 2, the plant, I was going to have like actually do a full big makeup and hair thing and turn the person into a plant, which was going to be really fun. So maybe one day we'll get that opportunity. I just want to talk for a second about eyeshadow, which in the name eyeshadow, we can hear it's a shadow. So just like contour and highlight, it's a shadow and a highlight. So what we want to do with eyeshadow is, can you open for a sec? You see the crease of the eye, which is like this part. I don't want to touch your eye too much. The crease of the eye. We're just going to like kind of put a dark color in that crease. So close. I'm going to use a thinner brush, and I'm going to follow the natural curve of the eye. So the way that this kind of lifts up, I'm going to just do a little V. Can everyone, let me see, are you able to see that?
Yes, yeah, I can see it super clearly.
So we see the little V. Sorry, I don't want to like knock you over. And then I'm just going to kind of fill that in a little bit. Then my eyeshadow is not supposed to be an exact like thing because we're going to buff it out. We're going to blend it with something else. And then I'm going to take a really light color. And this is so that the shadow makes the end of the eye look smaller and closes it off and creates that crease, the defined shape. And then we're going to put the light color in the middle because just like a highlight, it'll actually make the eyes lift up. So she has like a very regular eye, if that makes sense. There are a lot of different eye shapes. So I'm going to do that for her. But for my eye, for example, I might want to take the light color and bring it out a little bit because my eye turns down kind of soon. So that will actually make the eyes look a little more even on the ends, if that makes sense. So I'm going to take that light color and blend that out. Okay. And then just kind of blend them together. There you go. That's all you need for eyeshadow. And I used browns just to show you, like all I did was I used this basic brown that I used for the contour and this light color I used for the highlight. You don't need, eyeshadow is not there for like crazy colors. It's really just to define the eye the way that I was just saying. You know, it's not supposed to like, you're not supposed to put, you can. If you were going on stage and you were, unless you were specifically told to do something, I would say brown is a really good option. It's very natural. A purple, like a dark purple and a light purple can also be a nice option, but sometimes blues and like pinks and really bright colors, you don't want to just take one color and just put it on top of your eyelid, unless that's the look you're going for. But this is a really good generic thing. I'm going to do eyeliner next. Do we have a question?
Yeah, we have a few. Someone asks, can you do special effects like on teeth? I'm assuming they mean like prosthetics and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, there are fake teeth. You can even get those at like a Halloween store or something and just mold them to your teeth. But we did learn how to use, we had something we used were alcohol paints. And I'm not going to get too into that. It's like kind of like watercolor, but instead of using water to activate it, you spray alcohol on it. And it's a good way to like flick things. Like if you were doing someone who's older and you wanted age spots, you could kind of like flick that and it kind of like gives that yellow stuff. So we actually did that on teeth, which you're really not supposed to do. There are special paints for teeth, but they were very, very expensive things. But yeah, and they have paint for teeth to black it out or to put some yellow on them. I assume that's like what you're talking about. But even for the stage, you don't even really, I mean, you could paint them, but you could even use something to cover your teeth, you know, because it's far away. So.
Right. Cecilia again says, what was your favorite show that you have ever directed or helped out with?
Boy, I think that my favorite, you know what, let me answer that while I do this really quick, just so that I can keep going, but I will be answering that. So really quick, this is eyeliner. I know this is a really scary thing for a lot of people. This is not a necessary component to stage makeup, but like if this is like necessary, I would put eyeliner like here, if that makes sense. Because it really just kind of defines the eye, and it makes it look a little bit bigger. So this is a liquid black eyeliner. You can do this with a pencil too. The point with eyeliner is you want to just have a line and you want it to be thinner on the inside and thicker on the outside, but only a little bit. Again, unless you're going for a specific look, because you don't want to like make it really big on the outside. That looks a little crazy. So what I like to do is I don't do one big swoop of eyeliner. So I'll start on the inside, and I'll do a very thin line. So as you can see, you can barely even see that line. It's a very thin line. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. And then, can you move this one a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
And then, I'm trying, it's
I'll do
hard to
this.
do in person, on screen. So just how I did the eyeshadow, where I took it from the shape of the eye, you can also use a card. Some people take a card and like do that. I personally didn't learn that way, but that works. There's nothing wrong with that. And just how I did the eyeshadow, I'm going to take this and just, oh goodness, nothing came out. This is not great eyeliner. This is my sister's personal eyeliner. If I was using, I'm doing this to be like accessible for everyone, and same with this thing. These are things that you might have. A professional makeup artist should never use those things because they're kind of one-time uses. And right now, especially, we know how important it is to be hygienic and, you know, sanitize everything. So this is something that I would have an actual like squeezy tube of eyeliner and use a brush and paint it on. But since she had this, I'm just going to use this because you might have something like this too. So I'm going to take that line and I'm going to draw, like it's a wing. It's a little tiny wing out from the outside. You can see that, right? And then I'm going to take the top of that line and connect it, like almost connect the V, so to the, like kind of towards the middle of the eye. So like that. And you can see there's a wing. And now I'm just going to take that part and connect it to the other line that I drew right in the middle. And there you go. Now, if you have a really fidgety, hold on. If you have a really fidgety eye, she's not super fidgety. I know sometimes kids especially can be really fidgety. I would recommend not using a marker type or pencil type. I would say a liquid, like a really, which I'm going to use later on. A liquid type because it goes on really quickly. There's not a lot of like back and forth and like having to color it and smudge it and stuff. So open your eye. There's the eyeliner.
Beautiful.
And then I'm going to take her mascara. Again, with the mascara, I would use a squeezy tube and disposable wands, one-time use. But since this is her own personal mascara, I'm going to be using this one. Tip for mascara. First of all, mascara, essential. That would be on the list of essential things. It just really opens the eye up. Oh, tip, don't pump your mascara. Don't do that. It just creates air bubbles in the mascara and doesn't get any more on. It just actually makes it clump up and die faster. So just one swoop is fine. And a tip for applying mascara, especially on another person, is open your eye. So have them open their eye most of the way. Slowly bring it to here and then say, close your eye. Slowly close your eye. And now it's coated. And just do that to every part of the eye. So make sure you get the inside and the outside of the eyelashes. And there you go. So I think, because it's really hard to have something just poke at your eye, see? So to have them they have control over like where it's going and what's happening, it really helps.
Yeah.
We also,
Someone asked, are there different shapes that you can do with eyeliner?
yeah, so this is a wing. It's like a very basic classic wing. As you can see, when you compare the two eyes, you barely notice there's eyeliner on it if you just look at it by itself. But when you see it with the other eye, it actually makes it a little bit longer. You can also connect it at the bottom, which I'm going to do that later. That's more of a style. You can just do a lot, like without this, it's just a basic line of eyeliner, and that's totally acceptable, and there's nothing wrong with just doing that. This is how I kind of learned how to do it, so for whatever reason, it's more comfortable for me, but I know it can be really intimidating. You can make it a little bit longer. I would say the main thing to remember is you want it to kind of, I don't know how to explain this exactly, but you want it to just kind of go flat across the eye. You don't want to make a wing that's like, it goes down and then up like that. Like you don't want to take it down here and go like that. That's like not really the look that, it's just, don't do that. Unless that's the character, you know?
Right.
So like I said, the shape, where the eye kind of starts to go up, you can see like from the bottom of your eye up, and you're going to take that and just, it's a very small line, and then take the edge of that line connect it into here, and then color that in, and then you've got a wing. That's like the basic style of that. And then now we're almost done. We just need another thing. We need some blush. Blush, very basic. Don't go, this is probably the number one thing people go overboard with, and you don't need to, because that's something that's really noticeable on stage. So I'm gonna use this like kind of a brick color, a little bit on the brush, and tap it off. And then I'm just gonna apply it like in the apple, which is kind of like in between where we put the contour and highlight, like on the outside. And there you can barely see it, but it is there because you can tell based on the other side the difference. And the last but not least, lips. Just a neutral color of lip, totally, it just gives a little bit of color to the lip. So to answer Cecilia's question, this one I think everyone kind of has got the gist of lipstick. I'm gonna use a brush, you don't have to. My favorite show I ever did, I really loved doing Elf last fall, because it was the first time we did like Wharton Players, and I got to do the sets too, and that was really exciting. And it was just a big, and it was at during the holiday season, and so it was really nice to do a holiday show at that time, and it was just a really big production that was really exciting. And we rented the costumes. It was just really fun. I also got to do our company class this past spring with Miss Allie, and we wrote our own musical. And I thought it turned out really well, and we got interrupted halfway through with, we had to move online, which was terrible, but we kind of asked the kids, like, what do we want to do? And we all kind of decided, let's just keep going. And so we finished writing the show. They worked so hard. They sent in videos, and we didn't really know how to bring it online yet. Now we've had a lot of practice, but at the time they were kind of the test subjects, but it turned out so well, and we were really proud of them for writing that. So it was really awesome to be part of that process. So those are probably my favorites. But honestly, every show that I've ever done, I can probably remember most of the lines, all the choreography, all the kids who played what part. It just doesn't ever leave, So I really love every show I've done.
Mm-hmm.
So here's kind of I'm going to lean this light in. So here's kind of oh, that's a little too bright. But this is good because this is like what a stage light is like. So you can see if we just cover, I don't have a piece of paper. Do you have a piece of paper? Can you get me one?
No, just do it.
Can you get me? I can't reach it. So Ava, hold that up.
Got it.
So that's the side that has makeup, and if you cover that side. So you wouldn't really be able to tell necessarily, but when we compare it to the side without makeup, it's actually really noticeable. So that's a basic stage makeup. I'd say the number one things you need are the foundation to give some color to your face, because you can see how washed out she looks with the bright light in front of her face.
Yeah.
Mascara to pop the eyes open a little bit, and some blush and some kind of lip, even if it's like a chapstick or something like tinted like that. It doesn't have to be bright lipstick, but yeah, just that kind of stuff. And then the other stuff is more optional, just adds like some dimension to the face. But thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Ava.
Thank you.
I know you're now we're gonna bring on some students in a second you're gonna do a live tutorial with them. Someone asked, it was anonymous, I don't know who it was. They said, is this how we're making ourselves look for the Addams Family?
I think they're asking about the tutorial.
Oh, well, then I guess we'll find out.
So, but if not, if you are doing a show with us at any point, or even anywhere else, that kind of makeup is a basic makeup. Like a normal character, like when we just did Elf, or when we did our company show, that's a really good makeup to use for that, because it's just basic. It doesn't do anything crazy, Siri just thought that I called her. I don't know. Hi guys.
All right. Here they are.
So, okay, so here's my model. This is Miss Allie. Some of you may know her. This is my model for today. She's going to be doing this makeup with us. Madison, where are you? Come on screen as soon as you can. Okay, who asked that question? One of you guys asked that. Look, they're all pretending.
It was anonymous.
I know, but I know they had to have. Okay, so I did give you guys a hint. about what kind of makeup we're doing. Let's all just, why don't you introduce yourselves and say your name?
I'm gonna take myself off the screen so people don't have to look at me.
So let's all say hi. I'm Mr. Chris. Hello.
Hey.
Okay, this is Victoria. And this is Madison. And this is Molly. And they have all graciously agreed to come on and do this. They have no idea what we're doing. They really don't. I did give you guys a hint, and I said it had to do with our fall show, which is
The Addams Family.
the Addams Family. And so does anyone have a guess as to what we're going to be doing? Yeah, Molly.
Are we doing the wife from the Addams Family? I think her name is Morticia.
Yes, we are going to be doing Morticia Addams makeup. So I forgot to pull up a picture on my computer, and I don't want to waste time, but here's a picture of Morticia. So we can see she's got like a really long face. She's very, very pale. She likes to have her lips red, thin eyebrows. So we're going to try and kind of make our faces look a little bit closer to her face. So we're going to start. Does everyone have a foundation? Do we have like a pale foundation, a white makeup or something like that? Okay, so that's going to be our foundation. Whatever you have, I'm going to be mixing a foundation from Miss Allie's own foundation and a really pale, like white cream makeup. So just take that, whatever color you have, and put it on your face, like a foundation. So like I said, I'm gonna mix. This is like a white. I'm gonna mix that color into the foundation. Because I'm not gonna make her super white because Morticia is human. So if you have, hit my head on the light. If you have just white, don't make it super dark. Or, I mean, if you wanna make it super dark, that's up to you. It's your makeup. Because we're gonna kind of copy what the movie looks like, but this is technically, we're kind of doing it as if we were doing it on stage. So it would be really exaggerated on stage. So I have this really pale makeup. I'm gonna go in and another important thing that I have completely not even mentioned yet, but I think everyone did that, is to come in, when you're doing makeup, start with a clean face that's moisturized. Something like primer it's a good thing, but it's not necessary, especially if it's not really like a nice primer, which can get really expensive. Because moisturizer basically does the same thing as primer, and it's a lot cheaper, and it's a lot more accessible, and we all kind of probably have something like that. So I'm just using a variety of brushes that we have, just to give you guys an example of, you can really use any brush for anything, almost, not exactly any brush, but for the most part. To mix a little bit. Oh my goodness, this looks crazy. How are you guys doing? Good? Oh, wow. These are looking good. You guys look super cool. So I'm going to use this, and then I'm going to blend it in. I'm going to use this brush. Does this have makeup on it? Nope. Now, something that's really important to not forget is to blend this makeup, just like I did with the last one, blend it into the ears and onto the neck. Especially if you are doing a character, you're going on stage. It's gonna look kind of silly if your face is like white and your body is not. So I'm going to just kind of blend it in. Since we're not really officially doing it, you don't have to do that necessarily, but if you were going to use this on stage or on screen, you definitely want to blend it in. You're so pale. Okay. Oh, and get your lips. Foundation your lips. It's like lip primer. And your eyes. Okay, how's it going? Are we Are we done? Are we still working? I think we're still working. And then when I'm done, I'm just going to powder the face really quickly. Because we're going to be putting some more powder on the face as a contour. So I'm just going to use this brush that Miss Allie has already. And just powder her face and set it. If you have powder, great. If you don't have powder, it's okay. Don't worry about it. All right, are we done? Who's done? No? Okay. I'm going to need... Okay, are we done? Good? Just finish it up. I've never, by the way, to everyone out there, I've never taught makeup before. I've taught a lot of dance and a lot of acting, singing, whatever, swimming, I guess. I've taught a lot of stuff, but I have actually never really taught kids how to put makeup on. So this is really interesting for me. This is new for me. So bear with me. Our next step, are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. Molly doesn't have to, good. Okay. Victoria, good. Okay. So the next step is going to be contouring. This is a really important part of this makeup because Morticia's face is very particular. It's very, as you probably noticed, it's very long. She has a very long face. And the way we're going to achieve that, she has very high cheekbones and a very long face, and the rest of the face kind of sinks in. And most of us don't have a face that looks like that because it's kind of like skeleton-ish. But we're going to use makeup to do that. So wherever your cheekbone is, like Miss Allie's cheekbone is right here, I'm going to raise the cheekbone with makeup. So usually I would contour below the cheekbone. Instead, I'm going to start the contour a little bit higher on the cheekbone. So wherever your cheekbone is, try to start your contour there. And for the contour, we're going to use a grayish color. If we have we have like a kind of gray, brownish color. And what you want to do is put it on a brush and very, very lightly put it on. You don't want to go, you can always make it darker. You can't always make it lighter. So try to do it lightly, and you're just going to brush a line, just like that. Okay, I'm going to use this brownish, grayish color. You can always mix a couple colors. Like I have some brown, I have some white, I have some black. It's kind of making a gray, which is fun. So, yep, I'm just going to apply it right there, very lightly. Did everyone see that line? Oh yeah, got it. So Molly, you don't want to make it so dark, although since we are on stage, it's going to be okay. Is that powder? You're using powder? So what you can do, and I'm going to do this next too, is we're going to brush the powder, like buff it with a larger brush. So kind of just go like this to it and bring it down a little bit. So if you want to start doing that, because we don't want just lines. How's it going for everyone? Good? Yeah. And I'm going to do the other side. Another thing I'm going to do with this contour is I'm going to bring it down a little bit. So like, kind of like, the cheeks kind of go, like if you're making this face, like a skeleton kind of has the jaw. So it goes down just a tiny bit. And that's how we can shape the face to look a little bit different because we're going to trick the eye into thinking, oh, that part's dark and that part's light. So this part must be sunken in and this part must be forward, even though that's not true. How's it going? That looks pretty good. And now I'm going to just take that color and drag it down a little bit down here. And I'm going to do that first, but then I'm going to just take this other brush, a bigger brush, and I'm going to make sure it's clean, doesn't have other color on it. I'm just going to kind of blend it, buff it out, whatever you want to use. So you can see I'm kind of making that gray stretch down to the bottom of the face, which we wouldn't normally do with most contours, but since we're doing a character, it calls for that. All right, are we good? Yeah, well, that was good. And next, we're going to do the nose. And just like the cheeks, she has a very thin nose. So does everyone have a kind of a small, thin brush? Like this is kind of a thinner brush. It's not like big. Yeah, something like, yeah, that looks good. And we're going to, good, perfect. It's the same color we just used for the contour. We're going to contour the nose. And to do that, we're going to, so wherever your nose is, it might be a little bit wider, we're going to take the line. So her shadow kind of starts here, Miss Allie's. We're going to take it in a little bit and draw 2 lines on the nose like that. But don't bring it up to your eyebrow because that gives us a weird effect. So just start it like kind of down where the middle of the eye is. And then I'm going to brush that out. Just like I did with the other thing, we're gonna brush it to the side like that. That looks good, guys. Yeah, Victoria, that looks really good. You can also bring it down to the tip more because that long nose even extends down to the tip of the nose. See, mine's a little dark on the top, but that's fine because this is for the stage. I'm also going to add a little bit of contour on the bottom because her nose, it looks like it kind of turns up, but it actually doesn't. Because if you look closely, you can see that her nose has this little part at the bottom. So I'm going to take that part at the bottom and just cover it like this. And we kind of cut off the tip of the nose. You see? Isn't that crazy? On screen, but. So the nose, that tip of the nose is there. But you good, Madison? Look, and then see, Madison's like, oh, I'm gonna cover that up. And that's totally something, that's like the best part of makeup is if you mess up, you're like, oops, I'll just cover it with more makeup. It's totally fine. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so we're gonna cut off the tip of the nose. And then we're gonna take the highlight. And this is a white, we're gonna use a white color. Does everyone have a white powder? Like an eyeshadow? Great. And this is going to go, so everyone can like kind of picture a skeleton in their head, sort of like a skull, kind of what that looks like. So that's the kind of the shape of her head. So we have like skin and face here, but her thing, like just how we've contoured this, we're going to now put the white all along this front part of the face to make it stick out as a highlight. That is the really bright part of her face, is that front part. So we're gonna, normally we would just highlight kind of the cheekbone. We're gonna do the whole front part of the face. And we're actually gonna also bring it down the front like that, skeleton, because that's long. And it's gonna kind of elongate that front part of the face. So like, look, your faces are already looking so much longer and thinner. It's crazy. And I'm going to take the same highlight and I'm just going to go right down the center of the nose. Like that. I'm going to blend that together a little bit so it's not so much of a line. But this is for stage. So if you're makeup is a little dark, that's fine, because this is all to be performing on a stage, or even on screen, and it's okay for it to look a little crazy, because typically on stage, we're far away from the audience. So the next part we're gonna do is the eyeshadow. And if you guys were watching on what I was doing before, it's gonna pretty much be the same kind of thing. So we're gonna take a gray color. Actually, we'll just take the gray first. We're gonna take a gray color, and we're going to use a thinner brush. Here, come forward a little bit. And we're going to go into the crease of the eye. And instead of going from the center, she has very long eyes. So we're gonna start a little bit further out to make it look longer. And we're gonna do a little V, like that. Does everyone see the V? So V at the bottom, at the top. I got eyeshadow on the face, that's all good. We'll just cover it. Now we have kind of like a V on the eye. I can't have your other eye. So this is with a good color is like black. It seems like she has a lot of black, but a gray, even a purple, if you don't have black or gray, that's fine too. Now I've kind of done that to both eyes. That looks good. Victoria, that looks good. And I know that you guys might not be super used to putting a ton of makeup on your face, so this is like kind of brand new for some of you, or maybe just a little uncomfortable, and that's okay. You should have seen, hey, when I first went to makeup school, I was in a class with a lot of people who were wearing makeup. These girls would come in with tons of makeup every day, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing compared to you guys. So it was really bad at first, but you know, you learn, just like anything else in life. And I'm covering this up. Great. How's it going? Are we done with the dark part of the eyeshadow? Good. Now I'm gonna move on to the light part of the eyeshadow. I'm gonna use a different brush. You could use the same eyeshadow brush, but I'm gonna take, this is a really nice color. It's very pale and light, and it's shimmery. Shimmery is always really nice for the middle of the eye. And I'm going to, instead of just putting it in the center, I'm actually gonna bring it out a little bit to the outside of the eye to make the eye look even longer, because that makes it look like, oh, the open part of the eye is longer, even if it's not, because her eyes are very long. And I'm just gonna blend those colors together. Just kind of take a brush and just brush back and forth until they look blended like that. Well, that looks really good. Okay, are we good? Victoria, that looks really good. Molly, that looks good too. So next part, who has ever put eyeliner on before? Oh, okay, that's fine. So if you don't, this is not like, don't feel like you have to do it because you're like maybe nervous or uncomfortable, but if you want, I'm gonna use liquid eyeliner. This is really, for her look, you would need to do this, but right now you don't have to do this because I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable. So the way that I did the eyeliner before, I'm gonna start with the thin line on the inside. Very thin line. And I'm gonna do the other side as well. So Miss Allie is a really great model because she stays really still. But I know that it can be really hard to do it on someone else. Yeah, don't get it in your eye. Are you okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm waiting for it to dry.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, take time. I mean, this isn't a cooking show where like you can say like, oh, let me take the finished one out of the oven. We have to wait for it to dry, and that's okay. But just try to watch what I'm doing. And if you only do one eye right now, that's fine. You know, this is just kind of like to learn, and you can always do the other one later. So I'm gonna take the shape of the eyeshadow that I made, that's like a triangle. That actually looks pretty good, Victoria. You did a good job following it. And I'm gonna follow that line of the eyeshadow to the eye. So can everyone see that? So like the line of her eye, the way that her eye goes, I'm gonna just follow that. And then I'm going to take the top of the tip of the wing, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger and drag it down like that. So yeah, Victor, yeah, fill in the top of it so it's not as like droopy. That's okay. Have you ever done a winged eyeliner before?
I kind of have.
Yeah, so
I've
that's,
watched some tutorials, but I haven't really done it myself.
do you know what it looked like the first time I tried to do this? It did not look like this, I'll tell you that much. Don't go too crazy, Gloria. I don't want you to. It looks totally fine. It's Morticia Addams, so if it looks really dramatic and crazy, that's okay. If you were going on stage, I might say it's a little too much. But since you are going on stage as Morticia, that looks fine. Don't keep messing with it.
Okay.
Your eyes tearing up. So, and I'm gonna come over and do the same thing. I'm going to follow the line, connect, pull it in, and then connect the center. Mine's gonna look really, oh, Madison, I'm glad you came back. I know your camera's being a little weird.
Yeah.
So while I'm waiting for these to dry, There are kids yelling. That looks pretty good. Those look pretty even. Let me see. Molly, can you come closer? Oh, wow, that looks good. Wow, you guys did a really good job. I know it's really hard. All right, open.
Can I try and fix the other wing?
You can. You don't have to. I mean, Victoria, I really don't think it looks as bad as you think it looks. The other one looks really good, so you learn from your mistake, which is good. But yeah, absolutely, if you want to fix it. Next, I'm going to do, this is definitely an optional step. I'm going to connect the bottom part, like the outside of it. But this is, a little bit scary because I don't want you guys to get it in your eye, but it takes some practice. So I just kind of took the bottom, Miss Allie's, she has tears coming.
I'm crying.
It's very difficult to have that. I know. That's why if I were actually going to do it and if it was like me or something, I would be like, oh, I'm going to put eyeliner on the inside of my eye. I'm not going to do that with that person. And then I'm going to just connect it on the other side from the bottom. And I kind of messed it up, but that's okay. And that's because that doesn't have to be perfect.
Can't even tell.
See, you can't even tell. Victoria, don't worry about it. It still looks fine. It really does. Just do one more, okay? Don't worry about that. And then, I think that's pretty much it for, oh, duh. Most important is mascara. Where's your mascara?
Right there.
I have here. Oh, this is Miss Sally's personal mascara. So, it's brown.
No, it's not.
Um,
It's black.
This is brown mascara. It's brown. This is brown.
Okay.
It's fine.
brown.
I would use black, but this is her mascara. So, if you are not comfortable putting mascara on, don't worry about it. But try to do the technique I showed where you don't look up. Kind of keep your eye open halfway and then close it. It's a really great way to coat all of the eyelashes and make sure you're doing that. Make sure you get them all. And you can see what a difference the mascara makes. I like to say, really don't even worry about how the makeup looks until you put on mascara, because once you put mascara on, it really changes the way it looks. Sometimes you can even hide like messy eyeliner or bad eyeshadow behind mascara. Victoria, it looks good. I promise you it does.
It looks good.
This is what I mean. It's hard not to try to make it perfect, right?
Yeah.
But we have human faces, so already our eyes are already different shapes. They look different. They're different sizes. But you cannot replace your eye, so don't. And now I'm just gonna put a little bit on the bottom, but that's optional. You don't wanna get it on your face. All right, that's that. Good, it looks good. Did you wanna put mascara on or just move to the next thing?
I'm just gonna, no, there we go.
And if you're not super comfortable with mascara yet, you can always just put it on the tips of the eyelashes. You don't have to go all the way to the bottom. All right, Madison, I think that's good. You don't want to put too much. Now the final part, this is like almost the most important part, is the lips. So does everyone have a lip liner? If you don't have a lip liner, that's okay. I'm gonna use the lip liner first. If not, you can just use your lipstick to do that. So one thing about Morticia is she has a really exaggerated Cupid's bow. What that is this part on the top of the lip that's like kind of like an M, and her lips are kind of thin. So what we can do is we're going to over exaggerate the Cupid's bow by making this really sharp, which we typically wouldn't do. And then I'm going to do something called underdrawing the lips, meaning instead of drawing all along the top of the lip, I'm going to draw a little bit below the top of the lip. Make it look a little thinner because her lips are really thin and long. So I'm going to just do that with the lip liner, but if you just have lipstick, you can do that. Try to do that with the lipstick. Just don't go all the way to the edge of your lips. And there's the lip liner. And now the lipstick. And there you go. Oh, I got it. And now for the last part, we're going to take our hair down and part it in the middle if you don't already have it like that. But Molly does, I can see. And there we go. These look really good, guys.
Wow.
Wow, that looks really cool. Yeah, right? Good job, guys.
That looks amazing. I'm so impressed by all of you. Look
Really
at all these-
scary, I know. Like, you guys probably, I'm sure you don't put a ton of makeup on, and you just agreed and said, I don't know what we're going to do or what character or whatever. I just said, here's the list of what I need, what you need to bring. And they were like, sure. So, you know, kudos to you guys and thank you for coming and doing this.
Yes, thank you guys. Did you have fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. You should be proud. This is, I'm gonna take like a screenshot. Everyone smile because you look so good. Oh, but I'm gonna get myself out of here first. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you. That's great.
I mean, yeah, Molly, your face, like the way you contoured your face looks so good. And Victoria, believe it or not, your eyes look really good. I know you were really worried about them, but they actually came out good. And Madison, your lipstick is like perfect. These are all really good. I'm really, really impressed. I did not know how
Chris, this was amazing. This was so helpful for everyone. Thank you for doing it. Ladies, did you feel like you learned something?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you for being here. I missed that hour went like the fastest ever. Mr. Chris, thank you so much for being here. It was super fun. It was super great for me to see. I even learned some things from it. Audience members, thank you for being here. Mr. Chris, do you have like one tip or trick or advice you want to give our wonderful panelists here, but also like anybody else watching before we go?
My tip, well, I mean, for makeup, I guess my tip would just be like, do what you want to do with it. It really is up to you. I mean, if your director or someone told you to do something specific, then follow them. But if you are just going out and you put makeup on, I mean, whatever as little as you want, as much as you want, whatever colors, it's really up to personal preference. And it's just like a fun way. Some people use it just to enhance their features. Some people use it to like do something crazy with their face. So that's, you know, it's really up to personal interpretation.
Great, thanks. This is our last webinar. As always, if you would like to donate to us. All proceeds that we receive from these webinars, even though they are free, they go to our scholarship fund for all of our students at Wharton. You can text music to 74121. Thank you so much again, Mr. Chris.
Come
for
see us
being
in the
here.
fall. Come join our class.
Yes. Mr. Chris and I will be teaching the Addams Family, which is on Friday afternoons from 4 to 5:30, starting, I think it's September 18th. So let us know if you have questions
Yeah, and come
about
for
that. And Miss Allie and Mr. Chris also teach cabaret, which is on Tuesday afternoon. So you have multiple options. We are virtual until the end of the first semester, but we're having a blast. We're getting better at it every semester we're teaching. So stay safe, stay healthy, and we hope to see you soon.
Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Good job, guys.
Bye.
Bye.